استهداف المطار المنزل المستودع عم يتفجر. بس يلا بس. ايه شيء كان
لا عم ينفجر المستودع اوعى ما في شيء جديد
شوف شو كل زي شو السيارة شوف السيارة شو حالة
شيك على السيارة
The 24 Cubans who arrived by makeshift boat to a lighthouse nearly 7 miles from the coast of Florida in 2016 thought they had made it. Cubans who reached the U.S. got to stay under a law known as wet foot, dry foot. After the U.S. and Cuba restored diplomatic relations in 2015, a surge of Cubans, fearing a change in the law, left the island. We thought we were on land. If they say it belongs to the United States, it must be part of the United States, says Liban Concepcion, one of the Cubans to reach the lighthouse. But instead of bringing them to the U.S., the Coast Guard took the Cubans to a cutter, where they waited and waited for 42 days. The issue was whether the lighthouse was really dry land. Aboard the cutter, the 4 Cubans we talked to said they slept on the ship's deck, the U.S. just out of reach on the horizon. For asking for water, they handcuffed my arms and a foot behind me for a whole day, he says. That isn't humane. I don't think those people were humane. Growing increasingly desperate, the Cubans asked the Coast Guard for scores from recent football matches, but what they really wanted was paper to write about their alleged mistreatment. Then they put the paper in a water bottle with an inflated plastic glove tied to the top, so their message in a bottle would float. The message, they said, was their last chance to let the world know about their plight. We waited for the boat to get close to the coast, and we threw it, he says. It was our last resort. We are in hell, the letter reads. Please, whoever finds this letter, make this paper arrive to the lawyer of the case or someone who can help us, please. A fisherman in Florida found the Lighthouse Cuban's message in a bottle and did just that. The Coast Guard said in a statement that the migrants were well treated, but promised to investigate their allegations of abuse. The U.S. federal court judge hearing their case ruled the Lighthouse Cubans did not reach dry land, since even at low tide, the lighthouse stands in the water. But 20 of the migrants were sent to the U.S. naval base in Guantanamo, Cuba, while their case continues to be investigated. The remaining 4 Cubans told us they were overwhelmed by the ordeal and chose to return here to Puerto Padre, their hometown in Cuba. But one of the men, Walter Marrero, says he doesn't plan on staying long in Cuba. If the opportunity comes up, I would probably do it again, he says. Every other way of leaving here is too difficult. Contacted by CNN, members of the Lighthouse Cubans said they would still try to reach the U.S. No matter the law, they said, they did not see a future in Cuba. Patrick Ottman, CNN, Puerto Padre, Cuba.
The Aga Khan is a personal family friend, and travel to and from the island only happens through private means. But of course, this is something that we are going to engage with the Conflict of Interest Commissioner on.
Pleasure to meet you. I love this. Oh, you know what? We're all in this together.
We're going to have a strong, constructive working relationship with the United States because we
have donated and volunteered. In 2012,
what you think and how you feel.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you very much.
So if we talk about cryptography, it's been around for about 4,000 years.
It's not even 9 a.m. and these cadets are already being drilled in applied algebra with cryptology, the study of codes. It's just one of the disciplines in the West Point Military Academy's cyber curriculum.
That's what we call a brute force attack. when we look at doing cryptanalysis on ciphers is we just try every possible key in the key space.
Some of these young men and women will join the Army's less than 3-year-old cyber branch when they graduate.
When A is not invertible, that's what I want. So
Their
that's
tutor,
how we
Major
look at this,
Natalie
is why
Vanata,
we've
is a
come up with
cyber
this
officer
as a
herself, currently on teaching assignment.
We explore the mathematical ideas and foundations that make encryption systems work today. If I use a bunch of them and interweave them, that's really important because it really helps these cadets develop their critical and creative thinking skills when it comes to, well, what do we do next?
Steeped in tradition dating back centuries, West Point is now at the forefront of developing the Army's newest and most technologically advanced career field, combating the growing threat in cyberspace.
We need to have soldiers that are able to incorporate the fighting in the domain of cyber into everything that we do in the Army. That's well beyond just the setting up of the networks or the intelligence that's being collected over networks, to actually learn how to maneuver in cyberspace and to be a war-fighting element.
Colonel Andrew Hall leads the Army Cyber Institute at West Point, which not only runs the education program here, but also operates as an Army think tank on cyber warfare issues. I suppose the danger is that you are teaching something that may be evolving faster than you can teach it.
And we're trying to teach them and educate them so they can solve problems we're not sure yet what they're going to have to solve.
For cadets like 22-year-old Diana Contreras, one of 15 cyber officers to be commissioned at West Point this year, it's a big responsibility.
It's something that is so vital for our country as a whole. We can't function, we can't really survive as a nation without having backup cyber support, offense, defense.
What does it mean, the insignia?
So the two lightning bolts represent the lightning gods who would send communications from above. And the sword represents readiness in combat. So communications and readiness in combat.
Old principles for a new and unpredictable kind of warfare. Claire Sebastian, CNN, West Point, New York.
Through the support of the Japanese government, this Philippine eagle will be nursed back to health by the Philippine Eagle Foundation. In gratitude, the eagle will be named Sakura.
そしてこのフィリピンイーグルファウンデーションですけれども、日本のご助力ご援助のおかげをおりまして、このワシですね、健康な状態を取り戻すことができまして、これを記念いたしましてさくらという名前をつけました。
We will now witness the ceremonial adoption of this Philippine eagle through the symbolic turnover of the Philippine Eagle stuffed toy from the Philippine Eagle Foundation Executive Director, Mr. Dennis Salvador, to our President, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, who will offer this gift to Prime Minister Shinzo Abe.
それを記念いたしまして、フィリピンイーグルファウンデーションのエグゼクティブディレクターのサルバドール様より、このワシのぬいぐるみをですね、記念品として授与させていただきたく、まずはドテルテ大統領の方に、それから安倍首相の方にお手渡しをお願いいたしたいと思います。
A warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The Philippine eagle is our national bird that symbolizes the Filipino people's resilience and loyalty. Through this ceremony, we express how honored we are to be able to build a stronger relationship with Japan.
このワシですけれども、まさにフィリピンの国鳥でありまして、フィリピンのレジリアンス、力強さと忠誠心を象徴しているものです。今回の授与式をですね、我々両国の関係が
Senator from Wyoming, Mr. Enzi, for Mr. Hatch, proposes an amendment numbered 180.
Fisher 184, then Gillibrand 82, Hatch 180, Brown 86, and the further.
Bueno, entonces Juape. Bueno, Juape.
Es América el cimiento milenario de Colombia en nuestra historia nacional. ¡Adelante! ¡Sin matar! ¡Adelante! Combatientes, forjadores de la liberación nacional, rojo y negro el horizonte. ¡Atención! ¡Firme!
The Justice Department's internal watchdog has launched a new probe into the way the department, and the FBI specifically, handled Hillary Clinton's private email server investigation. The Justice Department has been criticized for its actions, especially when it came to how the public was notified. Democrats blame FBI Director James Comey for contributing to their 2016 loss. Comey dropped a bombshell in late October, saying the FBI found more emails that could be connected to the investigation into her handling of classified material, which had months earlier seemed closed.
I think steps were taken by the director of the FBI near the election, which were not precedented. His statement about whether there was going to be an opening of an investigation, a closing of an investigation, I don't think was fair, professional, or consistent with the policies of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Sentiments that are somewhat shared by Republican Representative Jason Chaffetz of Utah.
I don't think it was the factor in swaying the election, but I think it was a factor, and we should look at it.
The review will examine several allegations, including that DOJ and FBI employees improperly disclosed non-public information, and that the timing of the FBI's release of certain Freedom of Information Act requests right before the election was improper.
No American should be okay with interventions by our government officials or certainly by foreign powers to try and doing things that might have some undue influence on the outcome of the election.
I'm Andy Rose reporting.
زرنیوز رسانه نزدیک به نیروهای کرد سوری پیده در خبری مدعی شد که دولت سوریه موافقت کرده تا به کردها در شمال این کشور یک خودمختاری موقت بدهد. این پایگاه خبری نزدیک به پیده میگوید بر اساس این طرح ابتدا یک خودمختاری 4 ساله به کردها داده خواهد شد، پس از آن یک رفراندوم برگزار خواهد شد و نهایتاً بر اساس نتایج رفراندوم درباره دادن خودمختاری به کردها تصمیم گیری می شود. فرود نخستین هواپیمای ایرباس خریداری شده ایران در فرودگاه تهران برای رسانه‌های ترکیه هم خبر مهمی بود. پایگاه خبری ملیت ترکیه به بازتاب این موضوع پرداخت و نوشت از زمان انقلاب 1979 در ایران حدود 200 مورد سقوط هواپیما در ایران موجب کشته شدن 2000 نفر شده. ملیت همینطور اشاره دارد به قطع روابط آمریکا با ایران به دلیل گروگانگیری دیپلمات‌های این کشور و می‌نویسد از آن هنگام تا کنون آمریکا ایران را مورد تحریم‌های گوناگون قرار داده. حال که لیر پول ملی ترکیه سیر سقوط خودش را ادامه می‌دهد، وزیر تجارت این کشور می‌گوید شواهد و مدارک قوی در دست داریم که عده‌ای قصد خرابکاری در بازار ارز را دارند. او می‌گوید دولت با همکاری بانک مرکزی این موضوع را از نزدیک پیگیری می‌کند. مولود چاوشوغلو وزیر خارجه ترکیه مقاله‌ای در روزنامه واشنگتن پست به چاپ رسانده و در آستانه ورود دونالد ترامپ به کاخ سپید نوشته کشورش از ریاست جمهوری جدید انتظارات زیادی دارد. او گفته سیاست دولت پیشین امریکا مایه تأسف بوده. آقای چاوشوغلو گفته دو کشور ترکیه و امریکا در نخستین گام باید در مسیر جلب اعتماد متقابل و توسعه همکاری گام بردارند. تلویزیون دولتی ترکیه با انتشار تصاویری از نیروهای مخالف سوری گزارش داد نیروهای ارتش آزاد با پشتیبانی ارتش ترکیه به سمت شهر الباب در حال پیشروی هستند. اردوغان در واکنش به درگیری نمایندگان حزب مخالف جمهوری خلق که روز گذشته نسبت به لایحه تغییر قانون اساسی اعتراض کرده بودند گفت هر کاری هم بکنید این قانون اساسی در پارلمان به تصویب میرسد. او گفت اگر به سخنان آتاتورک اعتقاد دارید حاکمیت مطلق از آن ملت است، پس بگذارید این مذاکرات به اتمام برسد و این قانون به رأی مردم گذاشته شود. هر تصمیمی که مردم گرفتند ما هم به آن احترام میگذاریم. ریکس تیلرسون نامزد وزارت خارجه امریکا میگوید ما باید بار دیگر در مورد مسائل منطقه با اردوغان همکاری کنیم. او از ترکیه به عنوان متحد قدیم امریکا نام برده. و اما شهرداری شهر سامسون ترکیه برای سگ‌های بی‌پناه و خیابانی این خانه‌های زیبا را ساخته تا این حیوانات در این روزهای سرد بی سرپناه نباشند. رسانه‌های ترکیه هم این موضوع را بازتاب دادند، از جمله تلویزیون دولتی این کشور. همین رسانه‌ها چند هفته پیش با تیتر و تصاویری درشت گزارش مفصلی از گورخواب‌ها در ایران را برای خوانندگان خود منتشر کردند. در ترازو قرار دادن این دو خبر وقتی نظاره‌گر رسانه‌های خارجی هستی دشوار است. داوری باشد با بیننده.